Alright, I'm back, guys. Gained some hours so I can put in some miles before I go home on Thursday. Well, long story short, I thought I was going to be about 10 minutes to 45 minutes late, somewhere in there. Well, nope, I'm 2 hours early because something got mixed up and my appointment's at 1 o'clock, not 10 o'clock. So I am sitting waiting until 1 o'clock to get unloaded, which kind of puts me in a bind because I can't get this load scanned in to get paid for it by the cutoff date. So it'll be on next week, which at the same time kind of helps if I could get this load in. I wish I could get this load in, but they won't sign the bill of lading. And so I'm just trying to get this load. I wanted this load in because I could have had a really good paycheck this week. Well, that's not going to happen. 855 miles, which averages out to about $400. It's actually about $386. So, before taxes get taken out, and after taxes, it's like 2 something. I'm just trying to break it down for you guys so you guys understand. So, yeah, that sucks. But I held back because there was accidents. Lots of them. I saw a rolled over semi on my way here. Nobody was in it anymore. I don't know if anybody was hurt. So I can't. All I can say is just good thoughts and well wishes go to them. Prayers, I believe. In that type of belief, you don't, I'm sorry. Just give them well wishes and hope they're okay. That's all you can do. I'm not saying pray to them for them, but if you do, thank you. A lot of accidents happened. A couple of weeks ago, I was out on I-65 north of Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm from Indiana. I knew where I was and all that. I live in Michigan, though. But, yeah. So, here soon, what I'm going to do... Well, I'll get back onto that subject later. I'm bouncing all over the place, guys. I'm sorry. But I held back just because I didn't want to... They were restricting trucks to 45 miles an hour in a right lane only, so that guy that's doing 20 miles an hour, you have to do 20 miles an hour. If that guy's doing 2 miles an hour, you have to do 2 miles an hour. You can't pass them, it's illegal at that time. So, why not just hold myself back, get my hours, be on time, and go. When the traffic's cleared up, the weather's cleared up. That's why I held myself back. You gotta play that little mind gamble with it every once in a while. You gotta sit there and plan it out where you can take that time. I had plenty of time to do it. I picked the load up on Friday. It wasn't due till Monday, and it's only 800 miles. That's a day and a half worth of running. So that's why I held back and decided not to do it. So take that 34-hour reset, which is only a day and a half, and take the other day and a half and hammer it out. That's all I could think about, is just hammer it out. Hammer it out. What did I do? I hammered it right out, and I'm on time. I'm actually 2 hours early. So, let me see if this will work for you guys. I want to flip it. Okay. This makes it a little bit easier because the camera's up higher for me. So, that way it's not me looking down. I'm trying to get in the habit of looking directly at you guys, not at myself on my phone screen here. So Natasha, baby, can you comment down below the suggestions you gave me? Just one at a time so I could see them. But for one, I remember close calls. What close calls have I had? The one I can definitely remember still to this day. I got a big one and then a not so big one, but they're both close calls. I was coming, actually, ironically, to this place right here a couple weeks ago, and I came around a corner through a Pennsylvania road. It's a little 4-lane highway, and you just snake through it, right through, and yeah, that wasn't fun. Because I came around a corner and there was a car stopped in the middle of it. I was doing 65 miles an hour. Car stopped dead in the middle of the interstate. I can't tell you how many cuss words I said. So, yeah. It's extremely terrifying to come around situations like that. It's a blind corner. You can't see around it, but you come around that corner and there's a car right in the middle of it. It's absolutely terrifying. It really is. And I hate seeing that. I hate coming around that because what if is the question. It's not... I'm always questioning the worst because I have to be prepared for that. Because if I'm not, a lot worse can happen than me being prepared for it. Your brakes... I was basically driving a 40,000 pound a couple weeks, or about a week ago. I was hauling 45,000 pounds of oats. And I was basically driving without rear trailer brakes because my brake adjustment was way the heck off. Couldn't even use my parking brake to side my tandems. My wheels were still turning. There was some sort of friction there, but there wasn't much. I told you guys about that. So, yeah. That was a game and a half right there. I don't know exactly where I'm going quite yet because of this change up in time. Supposed to be here at 8 or at 10, and now I was supposed to be here at 1300. So I didn't get the load that they were assigning to me. So I got to sit here and wait. So yeah. Ooh, scanning and loads. That's a good one, dear. Scanning and loads. So, I'll show you a light process. I won't actually send a load in. But, so, let me grab this right here. I'll show you guys. Let me flip the camera around here. Right now the truck's a little bit of a mess because I haven't taken garbage out of the truck yet. I was in a hurry this morning. But I have a accordion folder right here. Holds my last like 15 loads. So my very last load here was this one right here. Make sure this is the right one. Yep. Okay. So I have on here my name, the date, the trailer I was hauling, my driver code, my tractor number, and my trip number. That's where I went, or I picked up, was Springdale Dairy, Sharonville, Ohio. Went to Rowdy's on Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. Weight was 44,875, and I have to write that down. So here's what the bill of lading looks like. And then I gotta find that fuel receipt that I had in here. So, because I have to keep my fuel receipts as well. So this all has to get scanned in. But yeah, that's a fuel receipt right there. 360, I'm trying to find it for you guys. 360 gallons, or $360. $379 in total. So, with DEF, the old government juice. So what I do is I have a scanner up here. I wish I could set this someplace for you guys, where you guys could see a little bit better. You guys are gonna fall. I hope you guys don't. So, what the heck, man? Okay, there you guys go. So I unwrap this. My computer right here has USB ports on it. I already scanned this load in. I'm not worried about it. If this thing would open and work here. Okay, there we go. So there's that. So what I would do is I would scan this sheet first, right here. But I have to go to, in my computer, scanning. And then I hit load this in, face down, and all the way to the right on this. Then I hit this little button right here. It says scan page. Then it takes it in, runs it through this little scanner. And once it loads up on there, it pops up like that. And let me get you guys a better look here. But it shows up on here of everything like that. So that's what we call the cover sheet. That's what tells your person that basically writes your paycheck. Next, you would do your bill of lading. You hit accept on this and put face down all the way to the right and hit add page. Now it's taking it and running it through. Done. That one's taken care of. Once it loads, I make sure it looks decent up on the computer, or on my computer here. Looks good. Hit accept, and I add page. Then I would fill in my trailer. Then I add the fuel receipt here, run it through. Pops it out. And it's on there and looks pretty. Hit accept, and I'd hit done. And I'd say send after that. But I ain't doing that. There we go. That's all taken care of. But that's how you scan in your loads. That's how you get your paychecks. Sends it over to New Ulm, Minnesota, where my company's based out of. Some lady looks at it on the computer screen, goes, okay, it's all there. Done. When I'm out of hours, what to do when you're out of drive time? Well, yeah, it's a tricky situation. You should never run out of drive time. That's the main hint there, is don't run out of drive time. So, best thing I can say is don't run out of drive time, right? Well, what happens when you do? Well, I'll tell you what happens when you do run out of drive time. Is oh, okay, let me flip my camera, move this back around here. So, here we go. What happens when you're out of drive time is that if you're out in the middle of the road, or out in the road, and you're 5 miles from your destination, there's a little trick you can do, and I'm not going to say I've done it, but we'll keep that our secret. You can go to off-duty personal conveyance or off-duty kicked off property, and that'll allow you to drive for a short amount of time. I think it's like 15-20 minutes, but you play that game of off-duty to get to the place. That's why I always look at my drive time. I always use the Loves app to tell where I can roughly make it, and I know which mile marker I'm going to, what highway along my route, where am I going. That is my main goal. I roughly stick right around. I'll do it after lunch just to know, because if that way, I got stuff in traffic before lunch and now I'm down to 4 hours. But because I don't care where I stop for lunch, if it's the Pilot, TA, Loves, anything like that. So, but for the night, I want to stop at Loves because they have free Wi-Fi for the TV. That's one way to do it. But if you're 5 miles out, and just drive. Don't give a crap about what the freaking crazy lady on the ET or your log is saying. I don't. When that comes down to that, I've only done it once. So, and that was literally pulling into my stop for the night. It ran out of time just then. I could have stopped right there and fixed it, which I did. But it still yells at you because you're out of time, and it still yells at you. Close call, scanning in Lowe's, what to do when you're out of drive time. If you're out of your 70, you're pretty much SOL. You got to sit for 34 hours. There's a trick also. If you're getting close to your delivery, you can do what's called an 8-2 split. You can rest for 8 hours, gain what hours you had left. So if you had an hour and a half and you only had 30 miles to drive, but your delivery was due, you stopped at 10 o'clock, but your delivery was due at 6 o'clock, or 7 o'clock, and you only had an hour to drive till there, but you only had an hour and a half last night, You stopped at 10 o'clock at night and your appointment was at 7 o'clock at night. You can stop for 8 hours, get up at 6, leave at 6, and be at your delivery on time. Sit there for 2 hours and then gain the rest of your 14. And your 11, but that hour and a half counts towards your 14 and your 11. So you'll lose an hour and a half on both, but it's a little cheater system right there to get your loads in. It's called an 8-2 split for your when you're not out of your 70. Can't do anything when you're out of your 70. If you're out of your 70, you're going to be in strict DOT violation. It's not even going to be funny. You sit for 34 hours. And you're also fined $3,000. I never had it happen. Hope to God that it never happens. So we'll keep it at that. I've never been out of my 70 because I'm smarter than that. I'll stop and prepare for it. What happens is that after 8 days, you'll gain what happened. So you have 70 hours in 8 days. So after 8 days, your ninth day, you get what you drove on day 1. After 10 days, you get what you gained on day 2, 11, 3. That's how it works. So, and so on. So you can keep yourself moving if you got good, strong days of running. Now, when you're doing live loads, live unload, stuff like that, it really cuts down on your drive time. It shrinks it down because you have a 14-hour clock. If you just spent 5 hours at a pickup, or your delivery, and now you're sitting here, and now you gotta wait another 4 hours to drive, you gotta drive an hour, pick up your from there, and it's another 4 hours, but you only drove, say, 7.5 hours, because that adds up to about, your on-duty time was 7.5 hours, but you waited for 4 here and waited for 4 here. That subtracts 8 hours out from that, which makes it 15. Nope, that'd be illegal. I'm trying to give you guys an example. 5 and 9. So you were on duty 9 hours. Or you sat. No, that's still a bad example because you wouldn't sit there for 9 hours, even though I've done that. Yes, I've sat for 9 hours at a pickup place because they said my load was due at what time was it? They said my load was going to be ready to go on a drop-in hook. I'd drop an empty, pick up a loaded at, I think, 5 o'clock in the morning. I was there at 8 o'clock, sat there until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm trying to think for you guys. Yeah, you drove for 7 hours, and then you sat between 2 different places for, let's just say, 6. So that left you an hour left on your clock out of your 14-hour clock. You stopped because you couldn't make it anywhere else besides where you were. So Love's, TA, Petro, anything like that, Pilot, Flying J. So you only have X amount of hours, so your 7 hours or your 5 hours or whatever I said, 6 hours. Now that transfers over. Now you can only drive 6 hours 8 or 9 days from then. So what do you do then? Well, what I do is I save hours from the previous day if I had a good day before that, or save hours from that day and transfer it over. I'll run those 6 hours, but I'll try to save some hours from the night before so I can get a bigger run out of it. I like to try to at least have 8 hours of drive time on it. On my clock, because 8 hours you can go 400 miles. So you have an 800 mile trip. It still takes you 2 full days if you only have 8 hours, but it transfers over to work out and make it better for you. Doing maintenance on yourself, for the most part, you don't do maintenance to your own truck. The only maintenance I really do is headlights and greasing my fifth wheel. This stuff right here, you can buy at Love's for $2.99, so $3 a little pack. I just cut this open. It says place on fifth wheel. Don't do that because you'll have this plastic sitting there. It's not, you're gonna have to peel that off later and you're gonna get that stuff all over your fingers. I just cut this open and spread it apart and use it once it's empty, and I spread it like that. It's like butter knife afterwards. That's how I grease my fifth wheel if I'm not getting fixed, or if I don't have an appointment or anything like that, because I'm gonna eventually get a electronic grease gun, so I can do it that way and just buy grease at Love's and plop it on there myself. So you just hold that and grease your fifth wheel up, and it's a lot faster, a lot easier than doing that. Why do you grease your fifth wheel? Because you got metal on metal. Now, you do that like this, and it grinds on it. Where's your fifth wheel plate? A lot faster. Now you put this stuff in between, and it does nice and smooth. It's not a good example because it's in the plastic, but you know, you put the grease in there and now it's smooth. So it'd be like putting soap on your hands, right? It's like, so that's the soap version. You're rubbing your hand, you're washing your hands, right? How it's so slippery. That's why we do it. You grease your fifth wheel. On top of that, so you got grease, or you got that, and you do a turn, your trailer will skip like that, and it'll just clunk, 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 clunk. There's been instances where you go around a corner and it's doing this, and it drags that trailer all weird and wonky. At the same time, your fifth wheel plate acts as a ground on some tractor trailers for your trailer. The grease is an electrical connection. Grease is actually rated to hold a ground electricity. I don't know how many volts that comes out to. If it's like, I think it's like 4.7 volts that comes out afterwards. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but your ground transfers back and all that. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know much about it, but you can get electrical shorts on your trailer if you don't have grease on there as well. I've seen that before. I talked about the big close call. The small close call. I was over in St. Augusar. I don't know how to pronounce it. I guess Augusar, or however the Iowans. I don't know what to call Iowa people. Iowans. The Iowa people call it like St. or Augusar. I call it St. Augusar. Yeah. Sorry, going a little bit retarded. I don't know what they call it. It's something different, but I call it St. Augusar. And it just snowed. I came out of there, and I went to stop, and my trailer I was hauling 45,000 pounds, and it just went, and just started skipping across this packed snow. And I'm just in the middle of the intersection. The cars are looking at me funny, and I'm just like, Can't do anything about it. Sorry, guys. So, there's that one. Here's one for you. Convoying is technically illegal. You cannot drive with somebody. You cannot convoy. So what you do is you don't ride with them. You just drive to the same destination as them. You go to the same speed as them. It's not, you're not calling it convoying at that point. You don't drive with them. You're just going to the same place at the same pace. Why is convoying illegal? I don't know. To me, that kind of seems like a little bit ridiculous. But it is what it is, and I can't change it. CB terms. I do have a CB. I've showed you guys that before. You got the old Smokey Bear, which means you're cops sitting on the medians or on the shoulder or whatever. You got Smokey Bears. Then you got chicken coops, which are your way stations. You got nap traps, which are your rest areas, and then you got the watering hole. That's your or your truck stops. If I had a really heavy load, I'd actually show you guys how to scale. But scale yourself out. But I don't have a real heavy load on, and it wouldn't move my gauge all that much because I got my tandems pretty much. I could put my tandems wherever I wanted because I'm only hauling 75,000 or 7,500 pounds. Your pickup truck could haul this trailer or haul this load around. Not the trailer because it's too big and tall, and your truck would probably scream and shout and everything else. Because altogether, I think this weigh 16. About 17. The trailer weighs about 17,000 pounds, plus an extra 75,000, which would make it 24,500 pounds. That's what my truck is hauling right now. Plus the extra 16, 24,000 plus 16 equals about 30,000 pounds. That's how much I weigh right now. I'm about 50,000 pounds under the limit. Right? Funny, right? Weird. I'm about 50,000 pounds under the limit. And I'm hauling 17,000 or 7,500 pounds. I can haul, I'm doing the math right now, that's about 75,000 pounds. Or, yeah. Shit. I'm just trying to think. I'm not literally going to tell you guys how much I make per week, but starting off, you guys aren't going to think you're making the buku bucks. You got to strive hard. You got to push for it. You got to go. And it's a struggle at first. You want that $1,000 a week. And that's hard. That's hard. Especially with starting in the winter. You get such freaks system or weather systems and stuff like that that can mess up everything. Winter's a lot harder on the equipment. You got more breakdowns statistically. Summer is even hard because spring's really hard because you're driving through the Midwest where there's Tornado Alley. it's just, summer's easier because you don't have to worry about ice. You just got to worry about wind. Rain. I've seen some freak rainstorms before where they just, this last summer in Michigan, we had a freak rainstorm that dropped like, I think 3 inches of rain in a matter of an hour and a half. We were flooded a lot, washed out a lot of roads, washed over a lot of roads, and I haven't seen anything like that in a lot of years. But rain systems like that, you can hydroplane a semi-truck. You can hydroplane your trailer. If there's no weight on the back of the trailer, and you can jackknife. Go, whoop. I called the scissor jam because you go, whoop. I've seen trucks. I haven't seen a truck personally do it. I've seen trucks after they do it. And, yeah. I don't want to have that phone call. I don't want to have to make that phone call. I just wrecked the truck. The sleeper smashed. Everything. It's nothing to mess around with. When that happens. What's my technical job title? Over the road is my technical job title. I'm over the road, which means I'm not home on the weekends or on a weekly basis. I'm home on a bi-weekly basis or tri-weekly basis. I've been out for 3 weeks before. I usually try to stick around 18 days. Is usually where I like to sit on that, because it gives you a lot of options for bigger loads. You can take loads to California. You can take loads down to Georgia, or Texas, or over to New Mexico, or up to Washington. I've been to California, right outside of LA. And I'm in New Jersey right now. I've been by Norfolk, Virginia. So I've been east. I've been literally on the ocean over here and nearly on the ocean on the other side. I've seen the Atlantic Ocean. I haven't seen the Pacific Ocean yet. One thing I really want to do is take like a load over to there, over in that direction, stop for like 5 or 6 hours and experience Las Vegas, because there's a exotic car racetrack that you can rent one and take training and drive Lambos and McLarens and stuff like that. And it's not horribly expensive, actually. It's expensive, but it's not horribly expensive. I think you can pay for like 3 hours for like 100 or like 300, 400 bucks. So like $100 an hour. So, I'd like to do it. You know, drive a Lambo. I mean, I've been through Las Vegas. When it was like 70 degrees. It was actually about 65 that day I went through there. Even though it's in the desert. Yeah, it was in the desert, but the wintertime is actually a pretty average temperature for me in the summertime. I'm used to seeing 65, 70 degrees. But just to make anybody jealous that is living in what we call snow country or cold country. Ain't no snow here, and it's about 45 degrees. I like running to North Carolina. They're usually about 60 degrees all year round. North Carolina, though, is expensive to live at. Actually, it's not horrible. You got Virginia. They're not horrible. So pick and choose your battles on that. But Virginia is expensive to live in because you got naval bases, you got everything. It's right on the water, and it's a highly political state. Washington, D.C., New York, things like that. Yeah, it's expensive to live on the East Coast. Florida is expensive. North Carolina, I know it's higher up there, but not near as bad as those states. New York, 500 square foot apartment, you're paying $1,200 a month. Where I live, you got a 1,200 square foot apartment for $800 a month. So, I don't like New York. I've driven through New York. I haven't driven New York City. That's something eventually I'd want to experience. Not right now. I've driven through Washington, D.C. on the outskirts of it. Not through it. Thank God. The outskirts were bad enough. I'm just trying to think of things to talk to you guys about. Heaviest load I've ever hauled. That'd be a good one for you. Heaviest load I've ever hauled was 47,500 pounds, I think. It was just recently. And that made me about 78,000 pounds. I was about 2,000 pounds off of being at the limit. I was perfectly fine. Alright, was trying to find a scale, like a cat scale, to scale, and I got pulled into a weigh station, and I was pooping bricks, man. Popping out diamonds out my butthole. Yeah. They gave me the green light to continue on through, which was a really good sign. They have what's called a in-motion scale, so you'll come up to it, and it'll scale you out if the weigh station's open, and it'll do a quick scan by. And if it's close, they'll bring you in for another weigh in motion, but at a slower, so you just hit it nice and slow. And if it's still close, from what they're reading, you'll go on to the stationary scale, which is actually weighs each individual axle at one time. So, just trying to think of anything for you guys. So, we'll go here. This computer is everything for me. It's GPS, it's my e-logs, it's my dispatch communication. That's how I get my loads. Just trying to think of anything for you guys. I can't think of anything. But I keep these on my truck because they're metal seals. They have plastic seals, which are really easy to break. I'll show you one. These ones are really easy to break. You just clip them in here, then you bust them apart like that. It just verifies your seal is there, but I can rip it around. But then they got metal ones down here. I got zip ties in here. Huh, never knew that. But I got metal seals in here, which are a lot bigger of a pain in the ass. You want to, it's an E19 number. That's where, this is the side you can see it from, so you would fold it this way and pop it in here. Now it's locked in. But this one is really hard to break. So what you do is use these suckers and you can have it, bend it like that, and it breaks the seal on the metal ones. Still clipped at the end here, but a very important tool to have. This wasn't a seal I was going to use anyways. They usually give you seals anyways from the from the place you pick up your shipper. But very big important tool to have is a multi-tool with pliers, because you can usually sit there and go and break them. They have seals that are bolts. They're little bolt heads. So they're a literal bolt like that big around that slides in, and it has a cap on it. You can't break that cap. You literally have to cut it with bolt cutters. When I worked for a company named Lowe's, we all know Lowe's, I had to do that when I received a truckload, is break the seal with that. And I'm just trying to think of anything for you guys. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, back to if you ever run out of drive time. Don't park on the shoulder of the road. I'll honk the air horn at you in the middle of the night. If I'm driving by you. I'll wake your ass up. Sorry, I'm weird. And a little bit tired. I'm just ready to go home. I need to go see a chiropractor. Because you go like this all day. I'm trying to give you guys a show of the air seat here. But you go like this, and sometimes you get bumps that bottom the air seat out. And it hurts. I mean, I could set this thing to be stiff as a rock. And that hurts your back even worse. Go halfway, it's still stiffer than a rock. You go empty, or all the way down, and it's nice and easy. But, so, the things that I do to keep myself occupied while I'm driving, I have Sirius XM. It's like, for the subscription I pay for, it's like $20 a month, not that big of a deal. I have Sling TV, and I have Netflix, and my wife pays for Disney Plus. Excuse me. That's her thing. I don't watch much in the way of Disney Plus. So, that's me though. I'm just trying to think for you guys anything at all. But like I said, you guys always leave a comment of what you guys want me to talk about. Because some things you guys are curious about and I don't think of. Because I already know them. I'm still working on trying to get up to Pinnacle Truck Driver Training in Cadillac, Michigan. To talk with Tim Baker about, your rules and everything like that. I actually want to talk to him and show you guys that aspect of it. What they offer. And stuff like that. I'm also working on, I want to get an actual camera so I can record a video and not live stream it. Only reason being, that way I can make it a more fluent instead of space and rod out, on top of it being more professional. So yeah. Alright guys, I'll talk to you guys later. And all I can say is keep on trucking.